the crews that have to go out there and assess what's going on have only been able to get so far. And we've been trying to bring back images. I know you've seen what David Sutta has been getting for us from down there, and it's just really impressive to see how powerful the storm hit there, because then here you have some parts where, you know, we just saw Miami Beach. It looks great.
And it looks like for the most part the upper Keys were spared somewhat. It's the lower Keys that were really affected by Hurricane Irma. And in fact, we have Ted Scouten. He is on that 18-mile stretch down the Florida Keys. Can you tell us what you're seeing out there, Ted? Do we have Ted? Ted, can you hear us?
We've been getting reports from Ted and from David Sutta in and near the Keys, because at one point, you know, we had to pull back our crews because it was so dangerous that they were evacuating the Keys. There's Ted. Hey, Ted, good morning. Let us know what's going on there. Are you in Florida City right now?
It looks like that racetrack.
I'm in Florida City. Yeah, right now you're looking northbound on US 1 from where you go into the 18-mile stretch. There's a roadblock up there from police. They're not letting anyone past it. That's because here, sorry for that big swing there, this is the 18-mile stretch where there are police. They're blocking it off. You can't get onto the 18-mile stretch or Cartstown Road to get into the Keys. Right now, the Keys emergency officials are keeping everyone out. The only ones that are allowed in are emergency responders and contractors who are working on specific things. For example, the first thing that they're checking before they'll let any residents in is checking the roads and bridges. The Florida Department of Transportation is doing that. We should be getting an update shortly. I spoke to the county administrator, Roma Gastasi, just a little while ago, and he said preliminarily things look pretty good with roads and bridges overall, but they're waiting for word from the Florida Department of Transportation to get officially if there's any problems, if they found any issues, things like that. They were able to get, coming up from Key West, going to the north, they were able to get to, I believe, the 29-mile mark, which is around Sugarloaf Key. That's when it was filled with debris. Coming from the other side, going from Key Largo down, I know that our crews have been able to get at least up to Islamorada. At one point in Islamorada, there was at least 2 feet of sand on the road. They were using machinery there to clear that out, to get that sand off the road. They made a path through there, what I'm being told. Now, we do have some video that we can take a look at, shot by Tom Rabady. He's our satellite truck operator who's there right now. I believe that you're seeing Tavernier. This is that area where a trailer park was pretty much obliterated. Everything from the trailer park was blown onto the road. You saw a lot of refrigerators. You saw boats over there, just a lot of personal items. So that area got it really bad, and it appears that was storm surge that did that. Otherwise, when you look at the road there, it was relatively clear in some areas where people were able to get through the road and they were able to make their way down. As our satellite truck operator got to Islamorada and what used to be the Tiki Bar, which is now the Postcard Inn, what he found there was that one of the outbuildings was damaged. And then it got worse, where it looks like storm surge again pushed a lot of items onto the street, onto US 1. This is the big issue that they're having, is that there's a lot of debris on the roads. So again, what's being done right now, these vehicles you see going through here, I don't know if we're back live on the Facebook Live picture, vehicles are going through onto the 18-mile stretch. These presumably are either officials from the Keys, or they are people who are doing contracting work, who are on a very short list of people who are able to get in. Again, what they're doing first is checking roads and bridges. Florida Department of Transportation is all over that right now, trying to make sure that it's safe for people to drive and travel on the roads and bridges. Then they're going to get rid of the debris from the road so you can pass through them, so you're able to get through. At the same time, they're also doing any kind of search and rescue. They're trying to go door to door in the Keys to see if anyone is there and needs help, if anyone's trapped, if anyone was killed by the storm. What we know of so far, according to the county administrator, there are 3 deaths semi-related. And when I say semi-related, one of them was from before the storm hit, from a car accident. I believe that was around Marathon. And then another 2 were natural causes, so heart attack, things like that during the storm. That was what he knew at that point. So again, county administrators and county leaders are meeting right now, trying to get the latest, trying to find out from FDOT what the roads and bridges look like. They're hoping that once they get that, then they'll be able to let people know when it's okay and when it's safe to go back into the Keys. Lauren and Eugene.
And Ted, when we spoke to Roman Gastasi, the Monroe County Administrator, earlier this morning, we asked him about some information we received yesterday that Monroe County was planning some airborne relief missions to take supplies down to people in the middle and lower Keys. When you had a chance to speak with him, did he have any update on that? Did he mention that to you?
No, I didn't hear anything more on that. I heard of that as well, that C-130s would be bringing supplies in. I don't know if the airport has been cleared and okayed yet for that to happen. But, yeah, I know the same thing, but I don't know what the latest is on that.
And when we look at your live picture there in Florida City, we do see all those cars that we're going through. You mentioned that those are all people who have to get through there because they have some work to do. But have you come across anybody who is maybe trying to return to their home to check out the damage but are being either turned back or trying to camp out there to see if they open up that roadblock at some point?
Yeah, and those people are not happy at all, as you can imagine. They, they left in a hurry. They took what they could with them, and then they left, and now they're not able to get back in. Has many people very frustrated because obviously they want to see how their properties were doing. One man I spoke to lived on a boat in Key Largo, and he's hoping that his place is okay, but he can't get back in. So that has people frustrated. And everyone else we've spoken to, it's the same story. They're very frustrated they can't get in. When I asked Roman Gastasi about that, people are angry that they can't get back in. They want to get to their properties. That's why they didn't want to evacuate in the first place. He said he understands that, but they have to make sure that it's safe for them to return. Otherwise, you have a situation where you may have to do more rescues. But they're asking people just to give them a little patience. Today is the first day after the storm. They want to make sure that people are able to get in. They're able to get to their homes, how far they can go down the Keys, see if there's any kind of bridge problem that might stop them from going. So when I asked, will it be a day? Will it be 2 days? Will it be a week? He said, at this point he couldn't answer. They're hoping, obviously, that they're going to be able to do something very quickly to get people back into their homes. I was also told by one of them that they're being told by officials here at the checkpoint to go over to the Homestead Speedway and just kind of hang out over there, and they'll be getting information over there. So that's what we've heard so far.
And Ted, yesterday, David Sutta, incredibly, was one of the first to get into the Keys. He actually made it all the way down to mile marker 74, even past that. And the reason why we know that is because he told us that mile marker 74, a part of US 1 was ripped up. So that's in between Layton and Isla Mirada. And in that area, it looked demolished like a war zone. So he couldn't continue to go southbound, obviously, because those lanes were ripped up. It was just way too dangerous. But I know yesterday you were in a hotel that luckily had power throughout the day, throughout the evening, even at the brunt of Hurricane Irma when it was hitting the Keys. Have you spoken to the people that you were staying in that hotel with? Are they checking out? Are they trying to get back to the Keys? Are they from the Keys, or were they tourists?
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. It breaks up, but I think I got the gist of your question. Yeah, I did speak to some of the people in the hotel who are from the Keys waiting to get back, and it's like I was telling you about that frustration that they can't get in. One man said that he got out, late on, I'm getting my days all blending now. I think it was on Friday he got out late and went over to Naples, as it would be, which, of course, he got there and he was greeted by Irma. He left Naples at midnight last night, drove over here, and wasn't able to get in. So he ended up over at the hotel where we were, and as we said, quite frustrated. But again, county officials are saying, if the roads and bridges can't handle the people coming in, then obviously there's going to be some issues, and it could cause even more problems.
And you've seen the crews heading down there. Have you by any chance seen any crews taking down supplies? One of the big issues down there is water availability. Apparently there's some fears of leaks or breaks in the aqueduct that's weak, and there may be issues with getting drinking water to people, and of course that's only made worse by the impassable roads. So the big concern is people who might not have a big supply of water may literally run dry.
Well, again, I haven't seen those kind of supplies going down, not while I've been here. That's not to say that they haven't. But that's why, again, we're told you have to have a supply of water for several days, and you have to be able to take care of yourself for several days. If you recall, before the storm even hit, county emergency officials were very, very clear that after the storm, you may be on your own for a while if you stay behind. You may not have water. And he said specifically, actually, in the first few days after the storm, don't expect us to walk up to you with a bottle of water because it's not going to happen. And apparently this is where we are right now.
And Ted, I got to ask, because I know when we were covering people evacuating from the storm at that very gas station, there was no gas and people were running out at different service stations nearby. Is there gas there for people to even make the trek back at this point?
No, there's no gas here, but there's certainly a lot of people. A lot of people hanging out here, giving you a little shot of who's here right now. There we are, Channel 4. Also, there's a lot of people hanging out here. The store is not open, so no one's able to buy any goods or supplies. I haven't traveled very far in Florida City, so I don't know what is open. But, you have to keep in mind, too, when all these gas stations closed the other day, they were out of gas. So everyone, I'm sure, is still waiting for a gas tanker to come and supply them, which I would imagine that's not going to be a very easy job.
Yeah, walk us through the process of the people who are trying to get through. So they pull up in their car, they come across this roadblock, and then what? What do they ask them for? What do they tell them, and what do they do?
Well, when they get to the roadblock, we went to the roadblock ourselves because we were, again, hoping to be able to get through into the Keys. And they told us that it's closed, you can't go through, that they're checking the security of the bridges and the integrity of the roads and cleaning up debris. When we asked how long it would be, they couldn't really give us a very good answer. But what they're telling the people who live there, Keys residents, is that they should go over to the Homestead Speedway, and over there they'll be getting more information. That's where they're supposed to just kind of hang out. I'm also noticing, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a walk here. We're going to walk past the media area here. We're going over to Chrome, where Chrome ends, where it meets up with US 1. There appears to be a growing line of people over here, people all just waiting to try and get in. And, you can imagine the frustration of people. They have businesses, they have homes, maybe they have family or friends who stayed behind and they want to get back. And they're all just hoping. Oh, I'm getting into a real soupy area here. Hang on a second. A lot of water here. There's a lot of rain.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of milling about, but really there's nothing for them to do there. They're better off doing what officials say and go up to was it Homestead Speedway.
But when they get to the Homestead Speedway, Ted, I was going to ask you what exactly is going to be there. Just people who are going to be able to answer some of their questions, information about whether they can get back home, when, where?
I don't know. I have no idea who's over there yet.
I imagine they just want to get them away from there because they're trying to do their work.
Yeah, we didn't get that information officially. We got it from several people who were in line, so we weren't able to ask questions as to what services will be there. But see, you can see here on Chrome all these people just waiting. They're getting in a queue here so they can try to get into the Keys. Let's see if maybe we can talk to a couple of people here.
How many of those people live in Miami-Dade County? Because so many people have those vacation homes or just their second home, and they want to check it out. So that's a good, information to give to them that they're not going to be able to get down there.
Hey, are y'all waiting to get into the Keys? Yeah. I'm with CBS 4. We're on live now on Channel 4. Tell me, what's going on with you?
Nothing. We're just waiting to see they let us through. We're trying to get back home. Assess the damage and stuff like that, get back to normal. But they're saying they're not going to let anybody in until from Homestead to Key West, that the roads are clear of debris. Only people coming through military. DOT has to check all the bridges and stuff like that. So I can't imagine that's going to happen quickly. So
are they giving you a timeline?
Not at all.
Did they tell you about the Homestead Speedway?
They did not.
So you're just kind of hanging out?
Yeah, we're just here waiting. Hopefully somebody will say something, and we'll go from there.
What's your mood right now?
Frustrated a little bit. We think we'd be able to get back, but I guess we got to take your precautions. Everybody's ready to go back.
Yeah, not bad. Okay. Let me talk to you. So tell me, what's your situation?
Well, we went to Homestead to ride the storm out, and we did good over there. We just want to get back to the house. We're in Key Largo, and hopefully we can get that much done. I want to get back to the house, see what's going on.
What's the frustration level now as you're standing here waiting?
I'm still calm. I just got here. It just started, so we'll see as the day goes by. I mean, hopefully we get in today. I really want to get in today and check the house, get my fridge going, but it is what it is. I'm sure they gotta do what they gotta do. I'm sure they gotta check the roads and do everything. But I think Key Largo is good. I think they'll let us in here, hopefully.
All right, thank you. Good luck to y'all. So there you hear it. People just hanging out waiting. A bit frustrated because they want to get home. They want to see what's going on. They want to make sure their property and their family is okay. But they're not able to get into the 18-mile stretch to get down to the Keys.
I understand their urgency to want to get home and see what they're dealing with down there. We're going to give you a chance now to go ahead and talk to a few more people. I'm curious to hear also from maybe some law enforcement. We know Key West police were told to leave, so I imagine some of them who rode out the storm up in Miami-Dade are going to be arriving there soon, if they haven't already, to start making their way down into the Keys as well. We are anxious to hear their stories, and hopefully when they get there, they find that their homes have managed, but we are seeing so much damage. Like you mentioned, David Sutta showed us some incredible images yesterday. And
those people, you know, it's interesting because they haven't given a timeline for when they're going to open up that roadblock. So they're just kind of hanging on to hope that they'll be able to get down there, which is understandable because they left everything behind, and some of them left it all behind at the very last minute. Maybe didn't have a whole lot of time to secure their homes and then just picked up and went. But if you know anybody out there, you might want to give them a call and tell them there is no timeline for this, and they may be out there all day, and we know it's going to be a hot day today, so maybe it's best to just turn around right now and go to that Homestead Speedway until you know more.
And even when you get to your home, there's not going to be any power. I know that from last night staying with my parents. It's going to be a miserable time once you do get home. So, you know, FPL, everybody working as hard as they can to clear those streets and then to get power back up and running and restored. So it's going to be a process, and everybody just has to be patient. We're all in the same boat.
At last check, 83% in Monroe County out of power. So certainly a lot of issues there, and we imagine that's in the middle and lower keys. Some of the upper keys fared a little bit better. So again, just pack your patience as you're dealing with these things over the next couple of days.
But I got it.